It wasn't a calling that attracted adoration or even tolerance. It seemed ironic to him, while escaping one torch-bearing mob or another, that doctors were regarded so highly for their stumbling and short-term treatments when all he wanted to do was surpass their greatest efforts. The man who attempts to cure the common cold is a popular hero. The man who tries to defeat death is hounded from pillar to post. He appreciated that the practicalities of necromancy might be unpalatable to some, but really, what was a robbed grave here, a summoned demon there, compared to the possible gains? Oh, but no. The public could never see past the occasional and unavoidable mistakes, bleating on about how the science of necromancy was somehow intrinsically evil, just because some of the higher-profile failures had ended up wandering the countryside with a hunger for human brains. Sanctimonious fools, the lot of them. Still, Christmas Eve, Cabal thought as he looked at the calendar on the parlour mantelpiece. A family time. Usually, his solitary lifestyle was not only necessary to his researches, but very much his preference. Sometimes, though, just sometimes. He sighed heavily. He wasn't entirely alone, strictly speaking. There were the things in the garden, and the things he kept in the woodshed, but he would rather open a vein than have them tracking grave mould and pixie dust onto the carpets. He'd been forced to take action against the things in the skirting boards some time before, so that only really left the thing in the box. He looked up at the wooden box that sat on the deep shelf above the fire. "Merry Christmas," he said. After a moment, the box started to whistle Good King Wenceslas in a melancholy but not unpleasant key. Cabal lowered his head and listened for a few bars. Something like a smile of happy remembrance flickered across his lips. Or perhaps it was just the flickering firelight illuminating his face as the daylight died outside. Abruptly, a sharp knocking at the door made his head snap up, the ghostly smile instantly replaced by his habitual expression of tight-lipped distaste. Cabal wasn't in the habit of receiving visitors at all, not least because not many actually made it as far as the front door. The garden folk, pixies, sprites, and fairies whose activities would have made Enid Blyton very sad, didn't usually permit it. On the doorstep, Parkin waited patiently. It had been snowing earlier, and he was wrapped up warmly. It hadn't surprised him at all to see that his were the only tracks that went anywhere near Cabal's house. Quite the contrary. He rocked gently on the balls of his feet and blew out a cloud of hoary breath. In one of the flower beds near his foot, something small, fey and unutterably malign, moved. "Hello, Sonny," said Parkin, apparently sensing the movement by sonar and not even deigning to look down. "Before you get up to any nonsense with fairy shot or the like, I think you really ought to know my boots are nailed with cold iron hobs." He looked down, his expression hard. "And I'm more than minded to grind buggers like you to dust with them, if you get any bright ideas. Now," his expression softened to an entirely insincere smile, "how can I help you?" After a nervous pause, the snowy hedges and borders chorused a shaky, "Merry Christmas, Police Sergeant Parkin." "And a happy Saturnalia to you too. Now piss off out of it before I do you." The door opened, and Johannes Cabal stood